Hey, kiddos, and welcome to our very first episode of Ghost Talkers. For those of you who haven't experienced the fact that Cam and I both have an enormous interest in paranormal activity, well, that's what this is. We're going to talk about things that go bump in the night from every angle that we can think of. And so we are delighted to be here today and happy that you're with us and wonder if any ghosts or devils or demons are going to show up. Hey, Cam.
Hello. Welcome in, everybody. So you are here with me, Nora Mark, or Cam, all the way from the United Kingdom, and the wonderful bonus mom all the way over in the United States, having a frank discussion, I guess is probably the word I would use, around paranormal activity, whether that be spiritual, faith-based, whether that be urban legend, urban myth, all sorts of different things is the plan. We've definitely had some chats around this. I mean, and interestingly enough, actually, this kind of cycles back to me first joining your TikTok lives, because the first TikTok live I joined and we started talking was about Dracula.
It was. Last year in October, I had been very lackadaisical about doing TikTok live streams. And so I made some decisions. iHeartRadio had just approached me and said, would you like to be a podcaster? And naturally, I said yes. And in addition to that, we wanted to get that started, we wanted to record something that we could put out as a podcast. And so we came across the first 4 chapters of Dracula, and we decided that members of my family would read those chapters. And we did, and we put it out as our very first 4 podcasts, and it was pretty well received. And that's where you kind of got interested in that for a very interesting reason.
Yeah, so myself, in fact, I actually live about 45 minutes drive from a place called Whitby Abbey, which is where Dracula supposedly landed in England on his journey over from Transylvania. Supposedly landed in Whitby, and there is a lot of memorials to Dracula in Whitby, and they still now, every year, multiple times of the year, host a thing called Whitby Goth Weekend. They also now host Whitby Steampunk Weekend, where everybody kind of celebrates the gothic and the horror. They hold Krampus events in winter. It's very much a place that holds on to its paranormal roots. So.
It's one of the first ways, actually, that we got in contact. There were 2. You listened to my TikTok live streams for a long time without saying anything. And I think it was kind of maybe when the whole Dracula subject came up that you sent us some pictures through our Discord community. Yeah, and that's one of the things that has happened as a result of the TikTok live streams. Then all those conversations kind of continue over to Discord. You joined our Discord, and you sent some pictures of the Abbey, and we started a conversation.
Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of moved on from there to whatever it is now, and whatever you see in front of you today is all just a case of a follow on TikTok all that time ago.
You we got into discussions, who even knows why. It was fairly recently. I think it was because you were streaming on Twitch, and we were talking about the fact that you were about to get involved again in paranormal investigations. Yeah. So tell us about that, Cam.
Okay, so I think this is where I have experience on this side and you don't, so we're a little bit different in terms of our experiences. So I've been doing paranormal investigation now for around about 5 years. I've been a member of 2 different groups of paranormal investigators where we go on location live and actually try and debunk paranormal activity and actually try and figure out what's going on. If anyone doesn't know the term debunk, the idea is that you go to somewhere where there has been notified paranormal activity, and the idea is you're debunking to basically prove that it's not real. Okay, so paranormal investigation for me is very much the other way around to what you would expect. I'm not going out looking for ghosts or spiritual activity or paranormal activity. I'm actually going to disprove that it's there, demystify, busting the mystery. And in terms of paranormal investigation, it's something that I very much enjoy. It's very close to my heart. And the reason I got involved in it is, well, the long and short of it is that most of my life, for those of you who don't know, some of you probably already do, I have been a clairvoyant medium, meaning that I have been able to see spiritual activity, that I've been able to witness it, and can communicate with spirit. Now, not everyone's beliefs stand within that, and that's okay. That's completely fine. I would never expect anybody to have exactly the same beliefs as me, and that's why we're all different. And that's kind of where our conversation kind of came from, is because you and I are so different in our beliefs, but so similar in our spirituality, I guess.
And our inquisitiveness. For me, I've had a couple of experiences in my life that fall in the things go bump in the night or events that I can't explain. Only a couple, both fairly mild, not anything extreme. And so I would say on the one hand, I've never really, quote unquote, believed in ghosts. Okay. I think that, for a lot of my life, I was not someone who tried to follow Jesus, and then I sort of became that. So yes, I'm on a spiritual journey from one place to the other, and I would have believed death is the end, and when you're gone, and ghosts are silly, and that would have been where I was. Okay, so kind of having an experience that started to make me investigate, do I believe in Jesus? Do I believe what the Bible says? One of the things I noticed reading the Bible in bits and pieces and starts and stops is that there's lots of mention of angels and devils and possession and lots of different things like that. So if you as a personal choice in your spiritual journey, you are seeking to find out more and to believe that the events of the Bible are true, then you can't just say, oh, that's all hunkum, dunkum, dinkum, whatever, and I don't believe in that. So that opens that door up for me a little bit. So I would have come to that probably in my 50s, and I'm going to be 72 here in a couple of weeks. So why am I here? I'm here because I have a lot of questions. I'm not going to say convince me or not convince me. I definitely believe there are things that happen in this world that cannot be explained by our understanding of natural phenomena and physics and nature as it exists today. So the pigs, Knuckle Waffle, the pigs that went off the cliff because they were possessed by the demons came out of Jesus, right? Called the demons out of the pigs. But then the pigs still went off. No, out of the people and into the pigs, and the pigs went off the cliff. That's a Bible story. Yeah, good example. Yeah. So I'm here to ask questions and learn. That's my focus.
There's definitely a lot of content in the Bible that is what we would now define as paranormal. I think in those days, I don't think it was defined as paranormal so much as it was defined as heavenly based. Mm-hmm. But I think now we would, in our current day and age, we would look at that and say, okay, that seems very paranormal. Meaning literally not normal or
not on the plane of existence that we're in. You hear heavenly realms, hell, the underworld, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hoping to learn more about.
And to kind of explain what this is going to be and what we're planning to do here with Ghost Talkers is this isn't just for Bonus Mom and I. Okay, we wanted this to involve our communities as much as possible and bring everybody in and start essentially a wave of conversation of something a little bit different, something that people don't always talk about. It's not something that's openly talked about all the time, and we want to be able to share those stories together with you, And the plan is that hopefully moving forward, is that following episode 1. So episode 1 is just going to be bonus Mom and I today, having conversations about different things and our experiences and anything that kind of comes along on the way. And following that, we should look to hopefully bring other people into the conversation. So we'd love to have members of the chat, yourselves, come and actually sit in with us on a conversation. We'll bring you into the chat, and you can tell us your stories, and tell us about your experiences, and we can have further discussion around that. We'll kind of plan to, I think we're going to talk about planning to try and set a topic each week, and we're going to lead into that at the end of each session. But yeah, this is something that we're both very passionate about in very different ways, interestingly enough. And we wanted to bring you along on the journey, and we've had people telling us we need to get back to doing our random chats. So here we are, giving you another random chat.
And actually, before we went on, when we were testing things and they were working, we were randomly chatting. Knuckle Waffle says you could go alphabetically. There you go. Black Moon hits hydrate for us.
Thank you very much, Black Moon.
Yeah, one of the things we would love to know from you all today, and it looks like there are several of you here, is what interests you about paranormal activity. Put something in chat. I need to hear from you all. Are you interested in other people's things that go bump in the night? Do you want to tell your own?
I have an interesting message here from River Helsing, and this is actually quite interesting. So growing up, their grandfather was a mortician for 30 plus years. So you see both sides. So where would you, with my experience, because I do have a friend that's a mortician, and in her experience, she's very much black and white. It's very much for her that's the end, nothing more, that's it. So I'd be interested to see your perspective of being around somebody that's been a mortician for so long. Of where are your views? So you're saying you see both sides, in that you see the possibility and the mortality. It's kind of it's an interesting concept to be in.
It is, and to add along with that, something I have never experienced, but a lot of people do, is actually seeing someone expire, seeing that happen to a human being who dies. Knuckle Waffle said, your grandfather was also a mortician and would never talk about it. Okay, ever, like all cap letters on my chat. So that's interesting too. But I haven't had the experience of somebody dying, but I've heard people tell stories about it. Knuckle Waffle saw your husband pass away. I think that would be an interesting conversation, because they're there and then they're not. I've seen someone after, like within a half an hour, gone to the hospital room and that person had expired. Not my mother. This is someone else in my life. Okay, Rivers, in your chat, what's that? That's a big long one. What is that saying?
My grandfather said, when you go in the ground, that's where you stay. There's nothing above or below, but depending on the different religions, it can be put many ways where you go.
Okay.
It's interesting when you look at the religious aspect of that kind of heaven hellscape side of things as well, because there's so many references to different types of afterlives. I mean, you look at the Norse religions, the Egyptian religions, you look at Christianity, Catholicism, you look at Hinduism, Buddhism, and there is always something that people connect, that they connect religion to this philosophy of an afterlife, and there's definitely that element. I mean, myself, I wouldn't class myself as religious. I am from a previous religious background. I am now more so, what would I say? I'm more spiritual than religious, if that makes sense.
No, I think so. I mean, what religion is, it's a human invention to have an outward ritual that focuses on what you inwardly believe.
Yeah.
Spirituality is that part of you that is always seeking, longing, desiring to worship. Kind of two different things. Religions are human inventions, basically. Interesting comment from Black Moon, who says there's so much question about the afterlife since there have been many interviews and stories shared with people who have been pronounced dead and came back. And that's a very valid point. I don't know if we have anybody in here that's had that experience, but many people have. And then synapsis, and this is something that Bonestad experienced as a pastor who was with people when they passed away. My nursing home coworkers would say when the residents would start talking to past relatives in the room, they would pass within days. And that was certainly Bonestad's experience. He also would share that the person who was in the process of going to expire would be looking and even sometimes would say, there, or they would be talking or motioning. Yeah. Maybe they couldn't make words because they were so ill, but he knew that they were talking to somebody else in the room. So those are experiences.
It's a very common experience that as well. I've heard that quite commonly. I've got a lot of nursing family, so I definitely I've heard stuff like that sort of story before, where people have actually had conversations with somebody, and it's clear that they're having like an actual in-depth conversation, which I think is intriguing, to say the least, in that it's that whole thing of, do we speak to our loved ones when we pass over, and I'd love to believe that we do. I'd love to believe that, and in my mindset, I think that's what my belief in spirituality is, that our love just carries on, that our love and our emotion and our emotional intent and connection is there forever, it's an energy.
Yeah.
Energy cannot be destroyed.
Well, there's that. It has to go somewhere. And if you've seen somebody expire, that's one of the things that has been shared with me. I haven't seen it, is that there is that release of energy. And you just feel like, again, it had to go somewhere. Knuckle Waffle has seen death at least 3 times. Knuckle Waffle saw her previous husband who died, saw his best friend from high school who had already passed away. And then sometimes people refer to mom or dad or, whatever, that they're seeing this person in the room. Very interesting. Yeah. One of the things I think about, whether or not you're a follower of Jesus, and that is a personal choice I'm not going to get into, but I have found from my life when I didn't believe to my life when I do now, and the calm assurance that there is going to be something else that gives me hope. Well, if that's the end and I'm wrong, okay, then it's over and I'll never know it, right? But I'm living a life with hope in it. And so I find that one of the things about my personal spiritual journey is it's one that gives me hope. I also had a very good friend who had their 19, 20, 21-year-old daughter die very unexpectedly in a car accident. And she found that by contacting her daughter, from the afterlife, however, whatever's the correct terminology, Cam, help me here, that gave her hope. That gave her hope in the midst of, she had lost her one and only child, okay? So she was struggling to survive, but believing that she might be able to contact her daughter or see her again gave her hope to continue to live and to pursue that connection. So it was a bringer of hope.
I mean, for me, coming from a mediumship background, so prior to the pandemic, I was working, and I use the term very loosely, working as a medium alongside my full-time job. So I would go to churches, spiritualist churches, and I would stand on a rostrum in front of the congregation, and I would provide readings to audience members, to congregation members, and provide readings from their family members, their loved ones. In spiritualist churches, part of the process of this is that you provide something else called philosophy as well. So you'll always if you go to a spiritualist church, you'll have a philosophy, and then you'll have readings. Okay, the philosophy is basically a philosophical discussion that has been given to you by spirit. Okay, and usually a medium will stand on stage and they will start talking. And we'll talk about certain philosophies if they want to talk about love or adoration. And usually the way... Sorry, I'm just smacking my mic around. The way that works for me, I usually get given a word by Spirit. And then I will have a full discussion around that word, and I will talk to the congregation and provide them with some philosophy, something to go home with. And the idea of that is that every person in that room goes away with something that is relevant to them. Because you will, if you do not get a reading, there will be something in the philosophy that you will be able to take home. That's the whole concept of philosophy in a spiritualist church. But people come to the spiritualist church to prove that their loved ones are still there, and to grieve and to have comfort in that no matter what, their loved one is safe, their loved one is happy, and their loved one has moved on, so that they can too.
When you study different religions, I'm just so interested because I knew nothing about that. I don't know about spiritualist churches, but that brings to my mind immediately the idea within Christian or follower of Jesus spirituality and spiritual gifts. There are things in the Bible that are referred to as spiritual gifts, and one of those is the gifts of tongues, the gifts of prophecy. And the gift of prophecy can involve any spiritual person who will get, quote unquote, a word of wisdom from the Lord, and in a religious setting, in a practicing religious setting, followers of Jesus area, that person can feel moved in a ceremony, in a worship service, to stand up and proclaim a word of wisdom. And then there will almost always be someone who will validate that in some way. And it serves the exact same purpose of what you're talking about in a spiritualist church. Maybe you're sitting there and the preacher or the rabbi or the somebody, has decided to read a certain verse and bring a word of wisdom out of that. But someone may say something that actually will affect somebody else in the service who wasn't getting any message of wisdom or reason to hope or whatever from the quote unquote sermon. And so there you are, you're seeing that different spiritual journeys, actually, if you peel the layers apart, you start finding similar...
So many similarities.
Yeah.
So many similarities. I mean, they're literally I think the only difference for me to Christianity in my experience to spiritualism in my experience is that in Christianity there is a written form of that. I'm going to take these off because I can see clearly without them for now, and it's reflecting my light. In Christianity, there's a written form of the worship in the form of the Bible, or whether it's the Quran or whichever religious book. In spiritualism, there isn't. There is no book, there's no writings, there's no specifics, there's nothing written down to say, like, this is the history. Spiritualism is obviously such a fairly new religion in terms of religions as they go. So when you sit and you hear a medium standing on a stage and giving a philosophy, to me it's incredible, because that philosophy has to come from somewhere, whether it's just been something that person has learnt over time, or whether it's that person is genuinely being given a message from somebody in the afterlife, that to me, I think, is just fantastic. I think that's just incredible to think that is a possibility, that we are being provided with philosophical information from somebody who has experienced life,
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I love about it, and that's where my spirituality comes from, just sheer intrigue, that I just find it fascinating.
And we can't move another step. I just have to say it, where you get the whole ancient aliens thing that trundles in there, where people trying to explain things, so they decide it couldn't have happened here, so it must be somebody from another planet. So God's really an extraterrestrial, or Mohammed had an extra, and it's just
I'm here for
interesting. Yeah,
I'm so here for it. If anyone wants to sit and talk to me all day about ancient aliens and all the ancient alien theories, I am down. I'm here all day for it. I spent far too much time watching. Have you ever watched the actual Ancient Aliens TV show? Oh my god.
Ancient alien theorists say ... Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it goes on. But it again, if you start again, and why people are here today and they want to talk, it's like, I'm interested. I want to talk about it. I want to see if somebody knows something that I don't know that might explain to me something I don't understand.
I've had an interesting message in my chat from McCrease. So where has it gone? So there's actually been a recent study that elephants may have a spiritual side, that they may have connection to the moon. Now, I find this interesting because they do mourn the dead and have been seen to do ritualistic behaviors, which I think is fantastic. So that kind of says to us that this isn't just us as the human race. This isn't just us as humans just saying, okay, because we are intellectual beings, we're going to bury our dead and have these specific rituals and processes, and this is what we're going to do. But we're now witnessing it within animals as well, and seeing that animals actually do these behaviors. So there's got to be some... There's got to be something there that's leading us in that direction, because truthfully, like the long and short of it, we are animals. Of course we are. We physically are animals. Just
to give you a little bit of a taste, that reminds me of something. Those of you who have been in my TikToks know about Cambria, the kitty cat Cambria, that is one of Pixel's and has been here forever. We got her as a kitten, and she would do this thing in the house that we lived in Stanton, and she does not do it here, where she's just going around her day, and suddenly she would do that. And she would be looking somewhere, and she would just almost go into totally frozen in place, except her eyes are looking at something. But there was nothing there.
Cats are an interesting one because they've tried to disprove the whole thing with cats seeing things that aren't visible for many years. It's been something they've been trying to debunk for years, and there is a possibility that they believe that when a cat does that, okay, and this is going to sound absolutely mad, so you've got to think of how intense their vision is, and their hunting instinct, that they believe that there's actually a possibility that what that cat has just seen is a dust particle moving. And that they are then watching that dust particle because their hunting instinct kicks in. Now, I don't know that that's true, and I don't know whether I believe it, because I've had reactions with my cats that just don't quite make sense, and where I'm almost questioning, that it makes me question whether they see more than we do. Dogs, I've seen dogs react to stuff that is not there. I've seen my dog react, but the other difficult thing with the dog is the hearing is so incredibly good that they could just be hearing something that I cannot. And proving and disproving that kind of behavior is so hard.
Well, sure, because we can't communicate with them.
When somebody learns how to speak with animals, can you please come and let me know? Because believe me, I would love that. I'd love that nothing more than anything else.
I'd like to be able to tell Cambria to quit talking, quit meowing at me. You'll get food when I decide to feed you, and it's not time, right? We're getting so many comments. I'm just realizing we're going to have to rewatch these to see all the comments. It's fabulous,
guys. I'm so grateful. You don't like. We were sat here before this session, truthfully, and as blunt as it is, we sat here and went, what if this just goes absolutely terrible and just doesn't work? Didn't we? We were both sat there thinking, let's just see how this goes. Let's just...
We really
Let's see
didn't
what
plan much towards today. We think it's a terrific subject, and we think there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, you do too. And obviously, we need to start pulling you in to be able to chat with us.
Yeah.
We think, and one of the things Pixel has said in the very beginning of this thing is there's a little bit of vocal distortion. He says, I sound a little fuzzy on your stream and you sound a little fuzzy on my stream. And he thinks it might be because we're talking through Discord, which we don't seem to have the problem when we're in Zoom, but Zoom is harder to bring people into. So one of the questions that I would have, which is a technical thing, is can we have Zoom for us and Discord for everybody else? We need to investigate that. But
we can certainly figure that out.
yeah, we have a waiting room in our Discord channel that is going to specifically be for those of you who would like to say something and would be willing to have your voices heard, because this is going to be here, and it's also going to be at least a podcast. And Hammer and Pixel says no, he does not think that we can do that. So that just may be an effect that we'll have to deal with, is a little bit of fuzziness. We'll invite you into the waiting room. You can go into the waiting room. You can tell us in our stream chat, I'd like to say something about that. And we might be able to pull you in, hear from you, and then send you back to the waiting room and give someone else a chance. So we probably won't do talks where we have 10 people in there at once. The audio quality on that turns into a nightmare, right? So Cam is going to be our person who pulls people in, kicks them out, and then pulls somebody else in.
So the plan is, I think what we're thinking is that we're gonna have a look at your stories. So I know a lot of you have already posted stories into the Ghost Talkers channel, which is absolutely awesome. Keep making sure to pop information in there if you haven't already. And please do make sure to note whether you're comfortable whether you're comfortable actually talking on stream, because that's something we need to know. If not, we can have a look through those stories. And we can use those stories. But I think the plan is we will probably pick somebody out for definite for that stream. We'll have a look through the stories, see if there's something we like that we want to bring into the next session. And then what we will do is we'll have that person coming in to have the discussion with us. We'll probably set off like we have done today. And then from there, we will let you go. And if we get somebody else in chat that is interested in coming and telling their story, we can then also pull somebody else in. There's no problems with doing that. We've got those options. So basically it's just a case of
we'll just see how it goes. We do have at least 2 people besides Cam in our community who have done paranormal investigations. And Cam is in northeastern England, so in Europe. And the other 2 people I know of, I believe, are both in the USA. I would foresee a conversation that we really might put that 3rd person in there, or 4th person, and have a panel discussion about what happens there and what happens here, and vice versa. So I'm not going to say that there wouldn't be any chance of that happening. I think I would be very interested to hear all the hype and the commercials stuck in the middle that you get if you watch any of those Ghost Walker or Hunt for Bigfoot TV shows, and find out what it is that serious investigators who aren't trying to make a TV career, and maybe the people who are making TV careers are serious. I would have questions for you. So I would really like to grill Cam. And I have a little bit, because we've talked off stream about what it is he actually does.
Guest talkers for ghost talkers. I like that.
Guest talkers for ghost talkers. Yeah, let's write that one down. I am trying to take notes, but people, this chat is not going to be easily in front of us like Discord is. So if you have shared anything today that you would be willing to talk about, would you please take the time to go into our Ghost Talkers text channel and give us a highlight? You don't have to tell the whole story. Black Moon tell us Native Americans in the mission, and there are stories around their graves. That's all you got to say to give us an idea, because we don't want to lose track of you. Plus, we both are now serious content creators. I'm really trying to up my game. I might not have waking hours enough to go back, re-listen to this, and watch chat. So please help us. If you want to be heard and you feel like what you have to offer is significant, please tell us. I love seeing it here. I'm sorry.
No, exactly. I think the whole Ghost Talkers text chat. That I think that's the key. There is give us something that's brief and concise, so that we can scroll through. If we know that, say, we're going to be doing a topic on. I'm only saying this because it's just been mentioned in my chat. If we know we're going to do a session on cryptids, okay, if we're going to have a conversation about cryptozoology, I want to see you use the words cryptid in chat, and I'll be looking through to see that there's a conversation, that this person has a story about cryptozoology that they're wanting to discuss, and that's what we'll be looking for. We'll be looking through for keywords. We're not going to be sitting and going through a full story. If you post a full story, I'm so sorry, but it is going to get lost in that chat. And it's no disrespect to anyone, because I would happily sit here all day and listen to everybody's stories. And I'm sure Bonus Mom would as well, because what more do we enjoy?
Oh yeah, we're fascinated.
Stories,
I'm also going to say, don't tell me about cryptids, because I don't know what you're talking about. So if it's something a little more technical,
you know what
it needs to go in chat so Cam will see it.
You know what cryptids are? Mothman? Bigfoot?
Oh, is that another name for them?
It's a cryptozoology. Is the technical term. Cryptids, mythological beings like the Jersey Devil, or I'm not saying that word out loud, Blackgreen, but that word, flesh pedestrians, as Joe Durr called them the other day.
Oh, okay.
El Chupacabra, local legends, stuff like that. Loch Ness Monster, that's a cryptid. It's like one of the most famous.
I just never knew they were called that. Again, folks. Bonus Mom doesn't know anything about this, okay? I've seen the movie Ghostbusters, only the first one.
Yeah. Oh, have you not seen Ghostbusters Afterlife? If anyone hasn't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, the latest film that they made, it's incredible. Go watch it. You'll enjoy it. It's really, really good. Really, really, genuinely very good. Funny.
Flesh Pedestrian. I think that's canon now. Flesh Pedestrian.
Yeah, Flesh Pedestrian. It's the nicer way of saying the SW. Because you're not meant to say it, because it's bad vibes.
Bad juju.
Bad juju, yeah.
Juju, so not judo. Juju.
Judo. Isn't judo? No, I'm thinking of judo. Judo's the karate, not judo.
Yeah.
So there's definitely all sorts of different topics of conversation. So make sure, if you are not in Bonus Mom's Discord, make sure you get in there. You can do so by jumping over to Bonus Mom's chat. And she will have a link in the chat. I'm assuming there's somebody over there in chat right now that can !Discord. And also you can check out my Discord if one of the mods can pop !Discord in my chat. I do have a spirituality channel in there, okay? That is, if you would like to come in and just talk about spirituality, it's just a text chat. You've got that option there. It's not in any way related to Ghost Talkers. It's just a general chat if you want to share stories or conversations, because it's something that's very passionate to me. So
I can hear that. Okay, I'm sorry. Something's going on with Bonus Daddy standing there with his phone going. I'm like, go away. I think he needs to tell me something. Take it away, Cam.
I'm going to the trash.
Oh, okay. Bonus Dad's going to take things to the dump.
Enjoy, Bonus Dad.
Watch out for ghosts. Okay.
Watch out for cryptids. All the things Appalachian grandmothers tell you not to talk about. Yeah, all the things Appalachian grandmothers. Now, we'll have to be careful about the subject of Appalachians, because
I have to be honest.
You're not meant to talk about.
VP just said, why do we not talk about that WEN word? And I got to be honest with you, I don't know what that is. Is that what the flesh pedestrian is?
Flesh pedestrians, yeah, flesh pedestrians. If that's something you wish to talk about, VP, you're welcome to talk about, but it scares me.
And I want to say thank you so much to VP for even being here, because scary stuff is not his forte. Granted, he plays Phantasmagoria or whatever all that is and Dead Before Daylight and gets terrified 8,000 times in a night, but it's not his comfort zone. Oh, wait, he says he ain't afraid of no ghost. Well, okay.
Ain't afraid of no goats.
And Hazardous Brad says VP ain't scared of anything except most things.
Except most things, yeah. I'm honestly, I'm pretty much the same vibe. If anyone's been in my streams, the one thing that you know is going to pretty much end my stream is if a moth flies in this room. I'm done for. Absolutely done for.
So that whole thing about Mothman would be terrifying for you?
I mean, can you imagine a life like a human-sized moth? Like, no, thank you. I'm so done. I'd be out of here quicker than God knows what.
There's a horrifying short story out there, and I don't know who wrote it. I think I got to think about that. It's a Japanese. He used a Japanese name, but it's about a little boy who like collects butterflies and puts them on a board, and that's an awful thing to do to butterflies, and it comes back and haunts him in a very bad way. Cam, you wouldn't like that short story.
That is called a lepidopterist, somebody who studies butterflies. Now, I wanted to have butterflies and things on my walls. I kind of like that. I know it's a little gory. Like, I kind of like taxidermy as well, but I don't think it's a good idea. You know. Oh look, we've got a ghost.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting talk in my chat now about Vincent Page and Hammer and Pixel starting to add comment spoof scary stuff. So that might be cool and interesting. I'd like that.
I've heard about this discussion. Okay. And I'm so here for it. So Pixel has this idea about making a spoof paranormal investigation team with VP, and I am so here for it. And VP, if you are listening right now, you say yes. You say yes, okay? Welcome to Trust, yes.
Yeah. A redneck ghost hunting show. I love it. I would love it.
I need to see it. It needs to happen. But yeah, so there's definitely lots of different discussions, and I mean, my chat is going absolutely fab in terms of different options of stories. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back through this chat, I think, at some point and
oh yeah,
have a look through just for topics even.
I am picking up. Hammer and Pixel says that they'd like to see 2 cans on a string, lo-fi version of every paranormal investigation tool. That'd be cool. You could describe the tool, and then I'll hold up the tin can representation of it. That could be a great little episode.
I mean, yeah, we can. Can we please set up a tin can? So I have one that goes off this way, and you have one that comes onto your stream. That'd be so good.
And I'll crochet the string between the two just to bring a little homemade aura to it. Oh my God! And people,
string.
Oh God, that's what they're going to use for the Pixel and VP Ghost Talker spinoff. I would love it, and it would be on Twitch, and it would add more. You know, I'd host it, you'd host it. It would be awesome. Yep. Ghost Yackers.
Ghost Yackers. Yakety yak. Don't look back. Them doing investigations needs to be a special episode. Oh, do you know what? I would love to do an investigation with you, Bonus One. I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
Well, we're a little far apart from that.
Yeah.
We could figure something out.
For those of you who missed it a few weeks ago, I was actually live on investigation in the UK at a big building that I've been to quite a few times, and actually live streamed from the location. And that's something that I'm going to try and do more regularly when I go on investigation. So I'd love to have you all along for that, to come and witness some paranormal activity in the flesh with me. It's almost like playing Phasmophobia, but in real life, or if we want to call it Phantasmagoria, like Bonus Mom, go ahead. But yeah, I would love to be able to share that with you as well, and bring that into Ghost Talkers to some extent, and have that as a little bit of a side.
Well, let me ask you this, Cam. Do you use YouTube? Do you put things on YouTube?
I do not, because I am an absolute technophobe as it is, and I'm scared of YouTube. YouTube is a whole another kettle of fish.
Okay, I just wondered because some of those, see, I missed that live stream and I would love to see it. And it's a shame. I didn't know it happened. Sorry. I probably was out of town because I have been a lot.
Yeah.
But that's one thing about YouTube is that on Twitch, things are there for 2 weeks. But if you don't move them someplace else, they disappear.
Yeah. So we're going to have to, I think we're definitely going to have to consider moving some stuff onto YouTube.
Well, you can certainly, if it's something you're not ready to plunge into, maybe we can somehow get your Twitch streams and we can put them in Bonus Mom's Tavern over there till you decide what you're doing or whatever. Okay. And VP is saying, wait, what are we doing? So I think he's lost track of the fact that he's about to have a new season of Ghost Yackers that he's going to be co-starring in.
Oh, yeah. That's your new project, VP. Now that your office is now all finished, your new project is Ghost Yackers, the spoof paranormal investigation. I think your first episode should be at the Bell Witch Caves. I'm sure you'd have a fantastic time and you'd really enjoy it. I've heard it's not scary in the slightest.
And it's close. It's on the other side of Nashville. Okay, if I've managed to pause my screen, how do I unpause it? Oh, never mind. That did it.
There you go. Well
okay.
Done. You did it. We fixed it for you.
Thank you so very much.
Even saying anything.
So now that we've started another whole show for Pixel and VP, let's pull it back into our Ghost Talkers and let them, because now Hammer and Pixel has said they've been talking about that for years. So what are we going to talk about next week? And we were going to talk as long as people want to talk, basically.
How do we feel about next week doing a specifics on paranormal investigation and what happens on a paranormal investigation and how it works?
Okay, so next week we talk about what happens in paranormal investigations. Let's include at least 1 to 2 stories of either somebody wants to share or doesn't, of things that go bump in the night. Let's try to do a things that go bump in the night at least every week.
Yeah, so we definitely we'll be picking out somebody's story to come and share with us of your story of something that goes bump in the night. And what we will do in the meantime is we'll reach out to somebody who has some experience with paranormal investigation as well. So we'll have a look through the Ghost Talkers chat and channel for those stories about paranormal investigation. And just be ready to receive a message from either myself or Bonus Mom. I think it's probably going to be myself. And I will just reach out to you and have a brief chat with you in between now and when we do the next session, which will be 1 o'clock Eastern next Tuesday, the 12th of September.
Knuckle Waffle says, make sure you explain the difference between paranormal investigations and ghost hunting. And since I don't know the difference between that, can we have a short description?
I would be very interested to hear what the definition of the difference is between paranormal investigation and ghost
Knuckle Waffle,
because that's not something I'm
ready to
aware of.
Knuckle Waffle, will you please either send us a message or post it in our text chat and we will talk about it. So Hammer and Pixel wants a story from us about things that go bump in the night from one of us to set the stage, or both of us. We could each do one.
Well, how about we both do a bump in the night story?
I have very few. Yes, Mama. Okay, Knuckle Waffle's going to do that. Hammer and Pixel says that'll whet the appetite for the first episode. Mine is mild, so if you feel like yours is significant, I'll share mine first.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so to set this up, I was in Lewisburg, West Virginia, because my grandfather was about to be made a lifetime member of the American Legion. As a survivor of World War I, he had always been involved in the American Legion all of his life. So the whole family and friends developed on this, joined this little town, and I got sent. I was probably in the 13 to 15 years of age range. I got sent to stay at an old house, like I think it was a Revolutionary War age house in town, with one of my cousin's grandmother. And the upper level of the house was mostly bedrooms. And at the end of the bedroom, like you came up the stairs and there was a hallway. At the end of the hallway was a room that was really just the size of the width of the hall, probably a 6 foot wide room, maybe, might have been 7 feet by maybe 6 or 7 feet deep. So, this was a tiny little room. And I was in a cot, not even a twin size bed, one of those like aluminum beds you fold it up and stick it in the corner, or you pull it out. It's got a mattress on about that big. That's where I got sent to sleep. The house settled down. It was fine. I was having trouble going to sleep because I was in a weird place, but I kind of did go to sleep. So this could have been a dream, but I'm telling you people, it didn't feel like a dream. I awoke. And I knew, there's the knowing thing. You just know that the door had opened and there was something standing there looking at me. But my eyes were closed, and I knew if I opened my eyes, I was going to see it. And I laid there in like just stark terror while this feeling was just all over me of there was something there and it wasn't good. And it lasted for either 6 or 7 hours or a minute. I'm not exactly sure which length of time, but it felt like hours. And I just laid there just like... And then it just went away. It was gone. And the door was back to being closed like it had been. And it was all over. But I have never forgotten the fact that I knew that I was being stared at by something that wasn't a good thing.
That feeling of being watched is so intense. And that's a thing, isn't it, when it comes to paranormal investigation and spirituality and the paranormal. Everyone definitely has... There's always that semblance of somebody having a story about being watched, and it's such a deep feeling. It's unexplainable. I will share with you about my old house, which is actually what got me started on doing paranormal investigations. So I've been into spirituality and the paranormal for years. Long time. I have friends that are into it. I've been to see mediums and things over the years. It's been something that's part of me, really. My grandma's a medium as well, so it's been part of my life for most of my life. However, the house that I lived in, we moved into a house that was built in, I believe it was 1810. Very old house. Beautiful house. So it was, I don't know whether you guys have them as much in the US, but it was a terraced house, which is essentially where you have a row of houses that are all attached together, and it'll be a 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom house, all attached together. And mine was an end terrace, so instead of me going in the front of the house, you would go in the side of the house. I'm painting the picture of this house because it really does define it. It had a huge, big black door with 2 locks on it. Okay, I had a Yale lock, which is the where you have to push the little thing up for it to open, and it had a deadbolt, and the key was this long. Okay, it was a big old-fashioned key. So we moved into this house, and the day we moved in, I walked in, and on the stairs, so you would walk in the front door, and the stairs are right in front of you. And on the stairs, there was a Sylvanian Families doll, okay, which are these tiny little animals, like this big, and they're covered in like velvet kind of velour kind of texture, about this big. It was on the stairs as I walked in, and I went, it's a weird place for that to be. And I just picked it up, thinking nothing of it. And this house had original features. It had a Victorian fireplace in it. It had a railway sleeper as the mantelpiece, like a big sleeper log. And the thing that made me fall in love, when you walked in the house, the ceiling was actually pasted sheet music. And it was original sheet music from like Bach and Beethoven. It was extremely old. Incredible. Now, we moved in, all went well, but I put this Sylvanian Families doll in the cupboard under the stairs. I came home from work one day, walked in, and that Sylvanian Families doll was on my mantelpiece. I thought James was playing a joke on me. Checked with him. James said he wasn't. Still possible that he was playing a joke, still. So I thought nothing of it. So I went and put it back in the cupboard under the stairs. And I'm very much of the belief that you don't remove something from a house that has moved. So I wouldn't then throw it in the bin because I feel like that's just attracting bad energy. Now, around this time, we also got our first two cats. Both of them were semi-feral. And we used to have a lot of that reaction of the cats would see things in the corner of the rooms and that kind of thing, and we just thought nothing of it. And just got on with our life as it was. And then we started hearing footsteps in our loft. Now, our loft was very, very big loft. But there was no access to it other than from the top of our stairs. So you would go to the top of the stairs and there was a ladder to go up. That was the only access into the loft.
We would call that an attic, wouldn't we?
An attic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And we kept hearing footsteps up in there quite regularly. And we started to get a little bit iffy about it. But again, we weren't too scared, we weren't too bothered. I then had a friend stay over one day, so it was a 2-bedroom house. My friend stayed in the spare bedroom. And I just realised my ad break just popped up as well, so I forgot to turn ads off.
Oh, I don't know whether I have ads or not. Okay. Well, I want to verify all the pronunciation. I mean, all the words you use that are different. I think we call those townhouses. The thing you're describing, McReese pointed that out, rather than a terraced house. Okay, yeah. Hammer and Pixel did turn my ads off. So what you're calling a terrace, we would call a townhouse in America. Okay. Are you still getting ads?
55 seconds.
Okay.
I'll actually show you a picture of the old house that I lived in.
Okay, please do. And would you post it in our text channel later?
Yeah.
So you were an adult at this point, huh? And I don't know what a Sylvanian family doll is.
It's these little animal dolls. They're like this big. So this is the house that I lived in.
Okay.
Okay, so this actual end house with the big black front door and the gable over the front door.
Okay.
So the rest of the street is down here, and these are actually the front of the houses. So my house, you went in the side instead of the front. And the stairs would be literally through that door and straight up in front of you. Okay?
Okay.
There we go. Ad break extended. So, about the same time, we got our two cats. Okay? Our two cats were semi-feral when we got them. So we had a lot of issues with them. And that's kind of key to the story. I had my friend stay over one night. We'd been out for a few drinks, and he stayed over because he lives out of town. And on the morning, for those who don't know me very well, I'm a major morning person. I heard my friend get up, go to the toilet. I heard the bedroom door go, the bathroom door go, him go in, go to the toilet, flush the toilet, come back out, bathroom door, bedroom door. So I then went and got my Bluetooth speaker, because it's me. Got my Bluetooth speaker, shoved it under the crack of the door, because the crack of the door was like this big. Shoved it under the crack of the door, and then blasted music into the bedroom to wind him up, because I thought it was hilarious. The response I then got is, "What on earth are you doing? Why have you just woken me up by doing that?" I then clicked what he just said, thinking I've just heard him go to the toilet. I then pulled my speaker back out, ran back into my bedroom, and said to James, "Did you just hear him go to the toilet?" And James goes, "Yeah, he did. I literally just heard him get up and go to the toilet." So, no, he hasn't been awake yet.
Oh
so
my
all
gosh.
of this movement with the doors, the toilet, all of that, none of that had actually happened. And I verified this with him later on that he had not actually woken up by this point. And he's not a sleepwalker, which was the other thing I kind of checked. Following this, we then started to get doors slam in the house regularly, and we would have doors literally, like, say this door behind me, I would be sat watching TV, and the door would just go bump and shut. And that would happen quite regularly. We also had James's daughter stay over, okay, a couple of times in that house, and it was about the third time that she stayed over in that house, and she came into our bedroom on the night, and she said, "Dad, if that man comes into my bedroom again tonight, can I stay in your room?"
Oh no. Oh God, I'm getting goosebumps.
At this point, obviously, we're starting to get a bit panicky and starting to wonder, is there more? Well, there's clearly more going on than we're seeing, and this clearly isn't a good vibe. And not long after that happened, we had our Works Christmas do. Me and James used to work at the same place. Works Christmas do. Now, I finished shift before he did. Me and James went home. Me and my friend went to my house to go and get ready, and got ready, and went to the Christmas party. Now, this is the key part. My door had 2 locks. It had a Yale lock that you had to click to lock it, or click to unlock it, sorry. Or you had to have a key, okay? I also had the big deadbolt key. I locked both of those locks, okay, before leaving the house. Okay, I locked both doors. Both locks. I then got in the taxi, went to the party, to the Works Christmas party. I then get a phone call from James. "Why did you not lock the door?" I went, "What do you mean I didn't lock the door?" And I said to my friend, I said, "I locked the door, didn't I?" He was like, yeah, I watched you do both locks. Not only was the door unlocked when James got home, the door was open. And the locks were still in place. And both of my cats, both of them, were sat on the bottom stair of the stairs, looking out of the door. Neither one had set foot out of the threshold. Bearing in mind, they were both semi-feral. They could have easily walked out that door at any point. 2 days after that, I came home from work. I went, and this chokes me up a little bit because I feel awful about this bit, and it was the final straw of why I actually moved out of that house. I came home from work, walked in, and fed. There you go. Yeah, one was on this. James has literally just put in chat. One was on the stairs, and the other was chilling on the doorstep. I came in from work. Well, we both did. Went to go and feed the cats, and we used to feed them at the top of the stairs at the landing, like just here. This house is actually the same layout as that house, funnily enough, pretty much. Went to feed them at the landing, and only one of my cats came out. And feeding time was like a zoo. They would both run to the food every time, but only one of them ran. Now, I used to keep my living room door shut all the time because I had a big leather sofa and I didn't want the cats to damage it. But they had full run of the rest of the house. And I then went and tried to look for the cat, and I thought, has he gone under the bed? Because it was the boy that wasn't there, and we did used to have a lot of problems with him at the time of hiding in places. So I checked under my wardrobe, checked under my bed, under the chest of drawers. I checked in the bathroom, checked in the spare bedroom. Had he gone into the divan-based bed? Checked everywhere, couldn't find him. And I panicked because obviously, literally a few days prior, this whole thing with the door being unlocked had happened. So I'm now panicking. So I go into the living room. And my door in the living room is a roller latch door, so literally just where it just rolls. It's not actually got like a whatever they're called. I call it a snack, but I don't know what
latch. Yeah,
it doesn't have an actual latch. It's just a roller. And I went to grab the door and push it open. It was just a roller latch door, and it didn't open. I looked at James. I said, "Why is that door not opening?" And I pushed it again. Wouldn't open. I had to full force run at the door and barge it with my shoulder for the door to open. And my cat was sat in the back corner, like opposite the door, the very back corner of the room, cowered, shivering in the corner of the room. And that was the day I said to James, I said, "We're moving out of this house and I'm done."
Oh my God.
And that was what sparked me doing paranormal investigation.
Wow.
And I actually told my landlord of that property that the reason that we were moving was because the house was haunted. And she laughed. Interestingly enough, we checked and kept checking that property online. 6 months later, the person who moved in after us, 6 months later, they moved out. And 6 months after that, the house was resold to somebody else. So clearly, it wasn't just us experiencing something random and out of the blue.
That's something else that is another subject. I just want to throw this in there, which is when you have an experience like that, if you look into it and then you find out something happened there, which is another subject. Sorry, just wanted to throw that in there.
I mean, and that's the thing. We never found out anything that had happened there. Now, bear in mind, that is just one of many different stories that I have of paranormal investigation and paranormal experiences.
Wow.
That's probably the deepest one. And that was what sparked me doing paranormal investigation. That's why I started doing it. Because that house scared me. And believe me, now, years down the line, when I've done all sorts of different paranormal investigations and done all sorts of different things, I'd love to move back into that house. I'd move back into that house in a heartbeat now to go and check it out. I mean, we considered actually going and knocking on the door to ask if we could do an investigation in that house. But yeah, I would go back there in a heartbeat.
Which brings up another subject about ghosts that I'd love to hear what people's experiences are, because I have read lots of books. There's lots of, the Canterville Ghost is out there. There are lots of stories about ghosts that are not all necessarily evil and they want to eat your face, okay? There are some that, like, they're sad, which is the Canterville Ghost. He's very sad, wants to resolve something from the past that didn't go well. Or you get somebody that they love their house or their place or whatever so much. The Ghost of Mrs. Muir is one of those. He was a sea captain and they have this, like, 40-year relationship or something, she and the ghost. Sometimes the ghosts just want to stay where they are and not be bothered. So there are different, like the thing that I experienced, my tiny little thing sounds it felt very malevolent. And what you're describing feels pressing against you and malevolent. But then you get people that are like, well, yeah, there's a ghost in my house and it's really fun. And, I'm happy when they close the door and I hear them. So that's another thing out there. Not all ghosts are necessarily scary, supposedly or apparently.
I mean, the one of the super, super short ones in the apartment that we used to live in. I think I've told you about this, actually. In the apartment that I used to live in, we used to see a cat walking around all the time. And we didn't have cats at the time.
Yeah.
Just to make that clear, because it wasn't just my cats walking around. We used to see a cat all the time.
Yeah, so and I have shared with you.
Out the corner of our eye.
That's my only other that I can think of off the top of my head odd experience which is that when Redbeard lived here, he had a cat, Merlin, that was a big gray cat named for Merlin, the gray magician. Yeah. And I would see him out of the corner of my eye, except he would be laying over there in a window, but I'm seeing him out of the corner of my eye, seeing his tail. It wasn't just like I had a speck in my eye. I would really see the cat. And then walk into a room and there he is, So, yeah, that's why we've shared that story with each other.
Yeah, we've definitely talked on that one. I know that.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. Well, and you have one. I don't want you to tell it today. I want you to save it for another time in your paranormal investigation with like the hallway or something at the dock and the woman and a friend of yours you all actually experienced.
I can tell you about the Esther session.
Yeah. So Knuckle Waffle shared maybe in my chat that they pretty much go out when she was doing paranormal investigations to debunk also, and then would be very disappointed when they could debunk it. Now, do you live in hope that you're going to find the one you can't debunk?
Yes. Oh, every paranormal investigator, anyone in this chat, anywhere, in my chat, Bonus Mom's chat, anyone who's done paranormal investigation, okay, would be lying if they said that they weren't hoping for that moment that they cannot debunk what's happening. And that's what you live in hope of when you do an investigation. Welcome in, Megan G. Thank you for the message there. I've just seen that.
Oh,
yeah. You live in hope for that moment of just something that's just completely unexplainable, because that's when you've kind of got your proof a little bit there, because then you're like, okay, this is actually quite interesting, and then you start thinking, then you want to go back to the place and you want to do more investigations, and then you keep going and you do more, and it's a hobby, you know, it's enjoyable, it's fun, it's exciting at times, scary but exciting.
Yeah. And apparently I am not one of them. There are people out there who absolutely love to be scared, and that is not me. I do not love to be scared. But the thing that I do believe at the bottom of everything, this is where I am. There are more things in this heaven and earth than can be explained by, again, natural or physical or explanations. And that even, you know, when I watch one of the reasons why I like to watch the Ancient Alien TV shows is they go places like in Mexico and South America and Africa, and they talk about pyramids here. And anyway, a lot of that kind of stuff we didn't know anything about when I was in high school. Okay, that lots of archaeological expeditions as far as the Sphinx is concerned and things have actually happened since I've been born. So looking at that, I think there is so much more to discover. You know, like
100%.
We just don't know what all is out there. And I love to learn about things that I don't know about. I love to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm excited by our conversation. I hope we do have time, because you have to go back and rewatch the whole thing, Cam, in order to see all of chat. It'll come back in, but it only comes back in as it happened, as near as I can remember.
Live. Yeah.
So if you told us something interesting that you want us to pursue in either my chat or Cam's chat, please come to our Ghost Talkers text channel and remind us of it so we don't lose track. Please tell us, I'm willing to be heard. I'm willing to be heard. Or if you want to say, please tell my story. Please just tell my story for me. I can't be there maybe, but tell my story.
Exactly, and that's completely fine. If you don't feel comfortable with being in voice chat, and you don't feel comfortable with your voice being shared, or if you would like to share an anonymous story, which is more than okay, that you don't want to be associated to the story that you're telling, feel free to drop me a private message. You're welcome to do so. I'm happy to share information as long as it's within the realms of obviously what we're going to be discussing and what we're talking about. That's more than okay. But yeah, we definitely want to share your stories as well as our own and our own experiences, because this whole Ghost Talkers project, we decided from the outset that this wasn't just about the two of us, that this was about the community.
Absolutely.
Because it's all of you that prompted it, really.
Yeah, we started talking and you started talking back, and it got real exciting really quick. I think that we're about at the point where we're gonna end this premiere episode of Ghost Talkers. And now a little bit before we go, I want us to take a moment like we do when we're playing D&D on Ghost Talkers. And I want us to tell you all the ways that you can find us. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is because this is also going to be a podcast. It will show up on Bonus Mom's Tavern. Anywhere that you go to find podcasts, Bonus Mom's Tavern is there. So you may be seeing this. We're doing it September the 5th of 2023, but you may be listening to it at a different time, and you may think there was something I really wanted to say, and now what do? Well, yes, you can put a comment underneath it, but you might actually want to contact us. So I want to tell you who I am and where you can find me. And I want Cam to do likewise. And Cam, I'm gonna go first, and then I'm gonna let you close us out this time since I started us off. Okay?
Okay.
So I am Bonus Mom. I am a TikToker. I live stream on TikTok basically Monday through Friday from about 9 in the morning to 11 or so. Eastern time, if it's daylight savings, whatever. I have a Discord channel, and that's where we are actually talking through our Discord channel. That's where the ghost texting channel is, Bonus Moms Tavern on Discord. The invite, the connection to that is found on my TikTok homepage. There is a funny thing about TikTok and Linktree. It's Linktree in my TikTok page, is that you have to copy and paste it in your browser. If you try to get to Discord from inside TikTok, it doesn't always work. And that would be true for anything in Cam's Linktree also. So copy and paste in your phone browser or your computer browser. Come find us, join, tell us, go into our tap room and say, or our Ghost Talk channel and say, this is who I am and this is where I heard about you and there's something I want to share with you. And the Ghost Talkers texting channel is where you actually want to do that. So I'm on TikTok and I have Bonus Moms Tavern on Discord, and you are seeing me here, Bonus Mom 70 on Twitch. I'm there also. Some of the things I do, although this will probably not be one of them, but other things that I've done, books that we're reading, conversations that we interview and we can see people, those show up on YouTube. So there is a Bonus Moms Tavern on YouTube also. So you can get to know more about me. You can email me at bonusmom70@gmail.com. If you listen to podcasts, but you don't do any other social media that I have mentioned, bonusmom70@gmail.com. Very easy to remember. And one last place, I do have a presence on Facebook, but I'm not very active, except that I really like Facebook Messenger. It comes to my phone. I keep up with it all the time. It's a great way to get in contact with me. So those are all the ways. If you've enjoyed what you're hearing and you want to know more, come and continue to listen on our podcast. If you want to contact me directly, those are all the places you can find me.
Wow. You've had practice. I have not. So, those of you who don't know me, I am Cam or No Remark. You'll find me on Twitch, on TikTok, and on Discord at No_Remark. So that's NO_REMARK. You'll find me there. Mostly variety game streaming on Twitch, so covering all sorts of different games. Currently, lots of D&D based games. You can also find my Discord, The Remarkables, by heading over to my About page on Twitch. Make sure if you click on that, you will have to verify that you have read the rules to my server, just for your safety and everybody else's. And if you have any stories that you want to share, head on over to Bonus Mom 70 on Twitch, head over to her Discord channel, Bonus Mom's Tavern, and make sure to share those stories. I'll be checking to see what's what. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to have a look on TikTok and follow us both on TikTok, and we could always end up doing this on TikTok too. That's the end of my list. That's your lot. And also, we didn't talk about food once.
This is the first time that Cam and I have ever talked, I think, period. And we talk, I'm going to say, every 2 to 3 days at least. If we're not doing something online, we're still dialing each other for a conversation through Facebook Messenger. And I don't think we have ever not talked about food. I thought about it several times. Did you, Cam?
Yeah, I'm very aware that I'm going to be getting chicken nuggets very soon, and I'm real hungry.
And did you know that they now have like spooky shaped chicken nuggets? They're shaped like ghosts and bats.
Just see, now we've gone to food. This is how it happens.
So tacky food for Halloween.
Tacky food for Halloween. Yeah, I love it. Halloween food's great.
Okay. I think that we are going to say bye-bye to everybody. Mm. Is there a special way that ghost hunters say goodbye? You know, see you in the ether, something like that?
I don't know, but for those of you who are watching, don't forget Tuesday is my spooky stream, so if you want more spooky content, make sure to come along to my Twitch stream it's 11 p.m. UK time. I don't know what that is.
It's 5 hours, so it's 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the East Coast, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, and 10 p.m. No, am I going the other way? I am. I'm going the wrong way. 7 p.m., 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 4 p.m.
There you go. Come check it out. Spooky content coming your way.
All right. I like it. See you in the ether, folks.
See you later, everybody. Take care.